To extend the usability of our hybrid agent setup, we'll now come up with a command line tool. So let's start with copying all of the code. This goes over here. Then some sample context that we will use for an example. Then we have the shell script. And lastly, the build file. Sweet. So let's see what's happening under the hood. You would use the query flag to specify the user's query. You can optionally specify a context file for the embedding model to embed. You can also provide a name to any embedding model of your choice to embed the context. By default, we use all mini LM. And then this run API flag is usable when, suppose, your general environment configuration prohibits Anthropic API usage, but say you want to use the API for just 1 or 2 runs and you don't want to edit your environment configuration, well, you can just use this flag to bypass your environment configuration set. If you just want to see how the CLI2 is used, you can also just use the dash examples flag just to see the model run on one very simple query, and then a query with some minimal context file, which is contained here. And lastly, this class just changes the help message to a custom one, where we also show how to use this. For this file, let me show you both how to use it locally as well as how to use it remotely. So we'll just start with a very simple dash examples flag. Now with Bazel, if you don't include these 2 dashes, Bazel will think that this example argument is meant for Bazel rather than for the build target. Once you provide the double dashes here, Bazel knows that anything after this is meant for the build target and not for Bazel configuration. So when we run it, we have the response from the command line interface tool. You will see that it mentions that this is a cache directory, that it also creates the Hugging Face pipeline for embedding, and then it gives you the agent's response for a very simple prompt, and then it also gives you the agent's response for a query with some context documents. So how do we run this remotely? Well, you'll see in the document that we use the test argument flag. So with remote execution, and especially for testing arguments, we need to use the test arg attribute of Bazel. So for example, if I type this, you'll see in the output that we get the expected help documentation. But the only thing to be cognizant of is that each argument / flag needs to be passed as a test argument. So for example, to run a query, you would do something like this, where first you specify a query test argument and then you provide your query as another test argument.